Hey, welcome. Today we're going to dig into a really cool idea. What if our whole understanding of intelligence is, well, just too flat? In this explainer, we're going to move way beyond simple numbers and look at the rich, complex, and high dimensions of what it really means to be smart. You know, we've all heard of the IQ score, right? This one number that's supposed to tell us how smart we are. But just think about the incredible people you know. The creative artist, the savvy entrepreneur, the empathetic doctor. Can you really boil all that down to a single point on a line? That's the question that kicks off our whole journey today. And here's the big idea we're running with. Instead of a simple ruler, imagine intelligence is this huge, multidimensional web. See, it's not just about solving puzzles. It's about how we connect with the world, with each other, and yet even with ourselves and the big cosmic questions.
So, where do we even start building out this bigger, better model of intelligence? Well, we've got to start at the foundation, with the two core engines that power our thinking.
Okay, so on one side, you've got what's called fluid intelligence. Think of this as your brain's raw processing power. It's what you use to tackle a totally new kind of problem or figure your way around a city you've never been to before. And on the other side, that's crystallized intelligence. This is like your own personal, ever-growing library of facts, skills, and knowledge you've picked up over the years.
And this is where it gets super interesting. These two engines, they're not on the same timeline. As you can see here, that fluid intelligence, that raw problem-solving horsepower, it usually peaks when we're younger. But our crystallized intelligence, our wisdom, really, that just keeps on growing our entire lives. It creates this amazing interplay between fresh, youthful innovation and that deep, hard-won wisdom.
All right, let's move on to the next dimension. Because, let's be real, being smart isn't just about what's going on inside your own head. It's totally about how you connect with the world and all the people in it.
First up, we've got emotional intelligence, or EQ. This is all about looking inward, understanding and managing your own emotions. But it's just as much about looking outward, being able to feel and empathize with what other people are going through. It's really the foundation for self-awareness and any kind of real connection.
Now, building right on top of that is social intelligence, or SQ. Think of this like EQ, but scaled up for big groups. It's moving past one-on-one empathy to really understanding the tricky currents of group dynamics, handling social situations with ease, and building those important relationships. This is the kind of intelligence a great leader or a master negotiator has in spades.
And this just hammers home a huge modern truth. In this crazy, interconnected world we live in, just being book smart hardly ever cuts it anymore. If you want to lead, to persuade, to inspire, you've got to be people smart. The big takeaway here is that EQ and SQ aren't just some soft skills. They are power skills.
Okay, so we've got brain power and we've got people skills. But how do you actually turn all of that into results in the real world? Well, that brings us to our third dimension, practical intelligence.
Yep, this is what a lot of us call street smarts. It's that knack for reading a room, adapting on the fly, and knowing exactly how and when to use your knowledge. Honestly, this is the thing that separates a brilliant theorist from a person who actually goes out and changes the world. We can actually break it down into a kind of three-step playbook. First, you've got to read the context. You know that what works in a calm boardroom is totally different from what you need in a crisis. Second, you have to master timing and intuition. Knowing when to make your move is just as critical as knowing what move to make. And finally, you execute with precision. It's all about turning great ideas into action.
So we've covered the mind, our social circles, and taking action. Now, let's climb to the very top, to what many people think of as the highest form of human intellect. And that is existential intelligence. This is our ability to just step back and chew on the really big questions. Why are we here? What is all this? What's our place in the whole cosmic shebang? This is the playground of philosophers, of visionaries, and really anyone who's ever just looked up at a starry night and wondered.
I think this quote just captures it perfectly. The intelligence of those who look beyond the physical world. It's about being able to grapple with ideas that are so much bigger than our day-to-day grind. It's that search for meaning and purpose that goes beyond what we can just see and touch.
So, we've journeyed through all these different dimensions of intelligence, from raw processing power to social grace, all the way to existential wonder. So, how does it all come together? Let's try to bring it all into focus. And that leads us to this really beautiful metaphor. True, deep intelligence isn't one instrument playing a solo, no matter how amazing it is. No, it's a full orchestra,
a symphony, where all these different abilities play in harmony to create something so much richer and more complex. And this is your symphony of smarts. You have that foundational rhythm section with your fluid and crystallized intelligence. You have the beautiful harmony of your EQ and SQ. You've got the powerful performance of your practical, street-smart intelligence. And weaving through it all is that profound theme of existential deep thought. Nurturing each of these doesn't just make us smarter, it makes us more whole.
And that brings me to one last thing for you to think about. As you reflect on this whole multi-dimensional model of intelligence, just ask yourself, which one of these feels like your natural superpower? And which one could you maybe work on to make your own personal symphony sound even more incredible?